Dear friends, thanks for coming to this meeting of Friends of a Free Iran. We are holding this event after the recent uprisings that have shaken Iran. This week also coincides with the 39th anniversary of the Iranian Revolution against the Shah's dictatorship in 1979, which was, unfortunately, hijacked by Islamist fundamentalists who have been ruling Iran since then. This year, the Iranian people have again come to the streets and are calling for the downfall of the regime. I said during the plenary debate on Iran in January, in the face of the demonstration that have shaken Iran as a whole, the mullah regime reacted with unacceptable brutality. Thousands of protesters were put in jail. In the face of such events, a strong reaction from the European Union was needed. And I regret to say that this reaction did not live up to what is expected of the European Union. It was not until January 3, 4 days after Mr. Trump, that Mrs. Mogherini merely called, I quote, all parties, I repeat, all parties to abstain from violence. So she made no difference between the regime's torturers and their victims. I think the European Union must urgently correct its shortcomings. We must express our full solidarity with the people of Iran so they would get a message that we are on their sides. We are indeed critical of the current EU approach. The people of Iran bravely went to the streets calling for freedom and regime change. But it seems that the EU does not want to hear their message. We are very worried about the protesters who have been arrested. One of the top officials of the Iranian government has said that more than 5,000 have been arrested. Already, more than 10 have died in custody, some of them under torture. The regime's officials, including the so-called supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, have blamed the PMOI for leading the protests and have talked about executing members of this opposition movement. This shows how much the regime is afraid of the PMOI and the movement under the leadership of Mrs. Rajavi. But it also makes us very worried and reminds of the brutality with which they repress the opposition, as in 1988, when 30,000 political prisoners were executed and the world was silent. This time, we cannot longer be silent. The EU must give this strong message to the Iranian regime that we will not tolerate the execution of even one protester. Otherwise, we should impose sanctions to make sure that the mullah understand that for continuing the repression and the execution, they will have to pay an heavy price. I thank you for your attention. Now,